Hey guys, it's Kim here, and I'm here with Ricardo, who is the creative director for the latest Dishonored DLC. Hey Ricardo, how's it going?
Hi, how you doing?
Prisoners who have been transferred from Section B.
So this latest bit of DLC is called the Brigmore Witches. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so this is our final DLC for Dishonored, and we're super excited about it because it finishes Daud's story. We started telling the story of Daud with the Knife of Dunwall, and so this concludes that story. So Daud is now on a mission to find a witch named Delilah, who is threatening him. And he knows where she is now. He knows she's very powerful and very dangerous, and now he's got to figure out how he can get to Brigmore Manor, where she's at. And getting there isn't so easy because the city is under quarantine, and Delilah, of course, does not want Daud to reach her. And so Daud will visit a couple of new areas that we've got in the game. One of them is called Draper's Ward, which is a really big district that used to be this like super posh area that the aristocrats would frequent, and now it's totally devastated and controlled by two really vicious gangs, the Hatters and the Dead Eels. So Daud's gonna have to navigate that. He has to break somebody out of prison, a woman named Lizzie Stride, who's the leader of the Dead Eels, and he's got to figure out a way to get upriver and get to Brigmore Manor. And along the way, we've added a new power called Pull. In the first game, at the very beginning of Dishonored, when you played Corvo, he was lifted up into the air by Daud's assassins by this power, and so players will have access to that power now. And we have some new bone charms and new upgrades and lots of new enemies to deal with, including the namesake of the DLC, the Bristol Witches.
And so for people who perhaps haven't played the first bit of this story, which was the Knife of Dunwall, how is Daud different to Corvo? Like how is he different in terms of abilities or that kind of thing?
So Daud is similar to Corvo in many ways in that he is one of the few special people that have been touched by the Outsider. So Daud has the mark of the Outsider, just like Corvo. However, every time the Outsider picks one of these special people, they get a different group of powers. So, you know, Granny Rags was one of those characters, and she had a lot of stuff with rats, and she could make bone charms. And Daud, he's sort of like Corvo, but he's a darker mirror of Corvo, like a dark mirror image of him. He's already done a bunch of bad stuff, and so now after he killed the Empress, he's a little bit torn up about that, at least in the Knife of Dunwall. And one of his unique abilities, by the way, is that he is very charismatic, and he's able to share his powers with his assassins, which is one of the ways that you can upgrade Daud. You can buy a bunch of powers like Summon Assassin and Pull and some of the ones that Corvo had like Vitality, but you can also upgrade your ability to share that. So with the new power Pull, if you max it out to where Daud can lift people into the air, and you also share it with your assassins, then your assassins, when you summon them, will start lifting people into the air and hold them up for you so that you can finish them off or get past them.
Okay. So Summon Assassin was new to the Knife of Dunwall, and can you just clarify for me, is Pull the new one for Brigmore Witches?
That's right. So we added Pull. It's a new major power. And at low levels, Pull lets you grab things at a distance, so you can do things like steal keys off of people's belts. You can pull oil tanks out of the chambers that power them. You can, if you upgrade it to level 2, then you can do the thing that you saw in the original game, which is assassins lifting people up into the air and dragging them off of balconies and things like that.
So I noticed something as well in the little hands-on that I just got right now, and that's so you could buy favors at the beginning of every single mission. So could you tell me a little bit more about that? Yeah.
So just like in the Knife of Dunwall, in the Brigmore Witches, at the start of each mission, Daud is, of course, a super well-connected person in the city, and so he can buy favors to give him a little bit of an advantage. Now, one of the things that's different in the Brigmore Witches is that some of those favors will be different based on how you play the Knife of Dunwall. In fact, that's one of the things we're most excited about with the Brigmore Witches, is that if you did play the Knife of Dunwall and you beat it, you can actually transfer your save over to the Brigmore Witches. So, for instance, if you in the Knife of Dunwall, if you saved Abigail, or if you worked with Abigail, then she might have a favor for you halfway through the Brigmore Witches that you can use.
And will your choices that you made, like the moral choices and that kind of thing in Knife of Dunwall, will that carry it over to the Brigmore Witches?
Yep, exactly. Just like with Abigail, there are a couple of other things that you could have done differently in the Knife of Dunwall, depending on how you dealt with them. It affects some minor things, like some dialogue that you might encounter, like, hey, did you hear that the slaughterhouse went up in flames? So there's minor effects like that, and then there's some more important ones, like it will actually change what some of the favors are that are available to you throughout the Brigmore Witches missions.
Okay, so I just played through the first 2 missions of the Brigmore Witches. How big is the DLC in general? Like, how many missions are there? How long do you think people will be playing through it?
So we think that this DLC is a little bit bigger than the Knife of Dunwall. I always say that, like, it depends on what kind of player you are, how long it takes. If you are like, I'm just going to put it on novice and just like zip my way right through just the critical path, you could probably beat it in 3 hours. But if you're the player who likes to explore all the content, wants to play stealthy, then I could see you spending 7 hours easily on this DLC. It has 3 full-length missions, like in the original game, and a little prologue and an epilogue. And also, in the same way that we always do our missions, we try to make sure that they are very replayable. So if you play through, you might solve a mission in a way that's totally different from the way somebody else does it. So if you play through again, you can play the second time through, you can play a completely different way. Go ahead.
And will we see any of Corvo in this? Will he pop up? Will we have a showdown with him? Anything like that?
That's a little bit of a spoiler, but Corvo makes an appearance in this one.
Fantastic. And you mentioned earlier that this is the last of the DLC for Dishonored. Is that last ever, or is this last for Daud, or last for, that's it, you're wrapped with with Dishonored?
That is it. This is a wrap for Dishonored.
Oh no, why is that? Because we want more. We want more. So what's the future for your studio? Will we see Dishonored 2, anything like that?
Unfortunately, I cannot talk about that.
No, come on. I knew you were going to say that. Final question. When is the Brigmore Witches out?
The Brigmore Witches is out in August 12th, I believe, and I think it comes out the next day after that in the European territories.
Okay.
So it'll be all platforms, PC, Xbox, PlayStation.
Fantastic. So thank you very much, Ricardo. Looking forward to playing all of it.
All right. Thank you very much.